Not your average tabletop. Woohoo!
Welcome to Not Your Average Tabletop. I'm Zach,
And I'm Pepper.
and today we're giving our first impressions of Twilight Inscription, which is actually a game we did play twice. Well, you played
I
some
played
additional times.
solo a couple times first.
That's true.
Yes.
To kind of get a feel of it. But then we also played a two-player game of it, and recently played a six-player game.
Six-player game, yeah.
So you can see we've
And
kind
it
of
actually
played
goes-
all these player counts.
It goes
It's
to
the first
8.
impression.
It even goes to 8.
That's true, which seems crazy because this one is based in the Twilight Imperium world.
Yeah.
So if you've ever played Twilight Imperium 2, 3, or 4, it's the roll and write version of that, supposedly.
Yes.
But neither of us have played any of those,
Yeah,
so we can't.
I've heard some say that it's like not really gameplay-wise bringing all that much over. But obviously, that's just what I've heard from some. I'm sure there's some that do say there are good ties with the mechanics, but
Yeah.
obviously we can't speak on that. So if you want a comparison, still watch this video, even though you're not going to get that here.
Exactly. And we've also got an unboxing video for this one if you want to see a closer look at some of the components.
Yeah.
That's a good way to do that.
Right.
But otherwise, yeah, we played it just last night,
Yeah.
and
to start first, it has a play as you learn,
yep.
which this has been in a couple games that we played, and I thought this one was really well done. I kind of just read through this for when I taught you the game. It had been a while since I'd played it as well, and I thought it taught you the game because kind of the core mechanics aren't too hard with what you're doing. You just get symbols and spend those on your various boards in usual roll and write ways, and it walks you through it really easily and how to get into the game. Once you get past like the 4th round, it's like, okay, now go read everything else in the rule book. So that's a bit of a read, but everything out to that point is pretty smooth. So great job with the play as you learn booklet.
Yeah,
More games should do that.
I would agree, 100%.
Especially when there's so much. It's a very intimidating game just with the theme being TI.
Yeah, and then I would say if one person knows how to play it and they're teaching other people, and then they go through that, I think they can kind of explain the rest of the rules pretty easily after going through that. There might be some oddball questions and stuff, but I think that's a really great thing in this game. And it'd be nice if more could do something like that. But we played it with 6 players, which this game the time says like, what is it, 90 to 120
90
minutes?
to 120, yep.
I don't remember how long. It probably took at least 120.
Yeah, we stopped partway through.
Yeah, that's true.
We
finished the game, but
we
we
finished
took a
the
break.
Game. We took a little break, not because it's long or anything. People came over, birthdays, and so we took a little break and then came back down and finished the game out. And I'm not really good at kind of telling how long a game is.
It didn't feel long.
No, it didn't feel like just drainingly long or anything like that, because everyone does get it. All is all simultaneous. You roll the dice and everyone gets those benefits. Classic roll and write mechanisms.
Right.
Really great games to play with high player counts because of that. Just because everyone can be doing and activating their boards on their own. But it is going to be a little longer because it's 4 people's first time playing the game, and will be questions being asked. But since 2 of us were there that had known it, so it was pretty smooth. I think.
I would agree. I would say after 2 games of it, gives me a little better feel, but I still don't. This is one that I think will take a few more games to kind of have a really good grasp of what kind of the best things to do are, because there is a decent amount going on. So you have like 4 different boards that are kind of doing 4 different mini game almost type things.
Yeah.
You said it's kind of like
Sonora,
where you've got the 4 pieces of your board that kind of all do different things. This one is kind of similar to that. You're just choosing which one of your boards you want to activate, and they each kind of do use. You'll roll some dice as well and get some symbols that you just get to use. And then you'll just use those symbols to either cross things off or draw lines and stuff if you're going throughout the space, or draw warships and stuff, depending on which category or area you're doing. And then, so you'll do that, like that type of thing on one round, and the next thing you'll do once you get past the first kind of intro, then you'll have like a event card, which will be either like war, or like a council voting thing, or production. Is there another one?
There might be. I'm not sure.
There might be, but yeah, they're kind of those types of things. So it kind of goes back and forth. You'll do something on your map, and then or on your board, one of your boards, and then you'll do that. So I think that all feels really smooth once you go through that 4 starting things, which you activate each one of them once, so you kind of know how to play them. I think after you do that, it's very easy to know what each one kind of does. So selecting it and stuff isn't difficult. But then, I would say the most difficult part about the actual activating things and stuff is sometimes remembering how many of each symbol you've used.
Yep. Yeah.
I think that can sometimes, because you can there's 3 dice that you're going to get every time, everything you activate.
Yep.
And there's 3 other colored dice with specific symbols on them that you can unlock, and then you'll use in that whenever you activate that sheet. So once you start adding multiple of those, it can sometimes be a lot of symbols that you have to remember, like, oh wait, did I use that? Did I not?
Yeah. It can get a little tough, but it does. Most of the time it works because for each board they can do different things. Like in one of the exploration, it's like these 2 types allow you to claim a system in the exploration, and this other type lets you move, so then you can just kind of break it down and be like, okay, I have 3 moves and 2 claims, and then it's a little easier to keep track of. They do have a tracker that you can use on one of the boards just to kind of keep track of what you've used that round. I don't know if that's overly helpful, especially since it is on just one board, and even if you're not using that board, then you kind of have to go back and forth, and I don't know if I don't really like using that. Just like to try to keep it in my head, even though you could make mistakes that way. But I would say that probably is the toughest part, and that's still not even like trying to understand how things work. It's just trying to remember what you've spent. So it is more on the player, but it is something to note.
Right. Yep. But otherwise I really enjoyed what each one was doing. They all feel quite different, I would say. Because the one you're just trying to get bonuses by completing columns and rows of symbols.
Going to different planets and exploring them.
Right. And then the other one is actually getting those planets available. So you're flying or drawing lines and then circling planets themselves. Another one is creating ships in war, for a war phase that happens, and then you'll be competing against your opponents that are to your left and right. So that's kind of an interesting thing. And then the other one, you're just kind of getting bonuses to get your production up quite a bit. And I would say overall they all felt fun, but I'm not, and I've only played it twice, so I can't say for sure like one is better than the others or not, but it does seem like the production one seems the strongest.
It
feels like you have to do that a decent amount.
I think, I mean, maybe it's just because it seems the strongest, but I've pursued that.
Maybe it's just the easiest.
In every game that I've played of it, I've tried. I don't know if I've always gotten it, but I've always tried to get at least the kind of red, yellow, and blue resources to the max to get all those points, because that's what it gives you, like 5 at the end, and like 3 in the section before that, and then a bunch of 1s. So that's like nearing like 20 to 30 points from all those, which is a huge chunk. That would be like a third of, I think, my final score. That would be. So,
and spoiler, that was actually like 3/4 or 3/5 of my final score.
Yes.
I did not focus on that too much. I got them to like the 3 points each.
Oh, yeah.
So, I ended up with like 48 points, so that was a big... I don't know if you ended up with 30 or more than that, but I think Michaela got like 48 in that zone, so that was like my total score.
Wow.
So...
I feel like I'm going to have to go for that every single time. The war as well, I think it's fun to do it, and I think that it's decently powerful, but when I actually just like look at the numbers, I'm like, okay, you can get some points from what you cover, and maybe some points for what you build. You don't really get points for winning the wars, except for in the final round. You can possibly lose some. But I think the bonuses are pretty good for winning those, getting those either extra dice or possibly extra symbols to unlock some technologies bonuses for them.
Mm-hmm. So and that was one that I focused on heavily, and I only got like 20-ish points from that. But I lost half the wars.
That's true.
True. And I felt like I dedicated a good chunk of stuff to it too, which is unfortunate. Yeah. Whereas Michaela, I think she didn't dedicate much at all.
She focused on like one or two of the rounds a little bit, but then otherwise I didn't really have much competition there. So I was easily able to do that, except in the last round, which I didn't put anything up there.
Yes, and she didn't, and Carson didn't either. So it kind of the war kind of, I guess, depends on the opponents next to you. But she only got, because really then if you're not dedicating much at all to it, you're just losing like a point from each one. 7 or 8 points total.
8 points, yeah.
But the last time she tied with both you guys, so didn't lose any points. So I think she ended up -3 because she got a couple of the bonuses there. And I'm like, okay. Yeah. I dedicated a lot to there, and I got like 20 something, which was partially me. I guess I didn't dedicate enough to win those. Yeah. There was one that I wanted to win because my leader, another cool thing, but also a thing I don't know if those are all balanced 100% or maybe some just feel better than others. There's a little activation thing, and I wanted to win that one, and that was one that I did not win, so that would have allowed me to draw 2 cruiser ships.
Oh yeah.
So that would have been big to keep that going, but yeah. And then the other ones, I feel like both my games I haven't done as much of the
space
exploration flying around. I feel like I should do that one more. That one feels like a good...
I really like that one. Obviously, just getting some bonus resources, getting the planets, which the planets seem much juicier just to spend to get extra dice on one of the last remaining board. But also there's good chunks of victory points. So near the end, I like to just branch out a lot, and on maybe the last round, just spend a bunch of resources to claim like 10, 12 victory points just on the ones that are on the board, as well as those spots where you can get bonus cards, which get you victory points, and usually a pretty good benefit too, where it's like, it gets you, I forget what ones that I had, but it like lets me put things onto my warfare. I think I got to gain another benefit, and I got 4 victory points for it. Like those cards are just really, really awesome to pick up. And just sometimes you can save them and spend them at a perfect time. I just really love getting those cards.
I think I got mine too late. I did actually go and try to, and I didn't even get the bonus thing. I ended up not having enough. But yeah, I ended up getting those late, and one just gave me +1 to all future wars. There was only the one round left, and the other one gave me, if I activate the, I don't remember which one it was, the top right one. I could cross off like 2 symbols in each. I'd choose a type, and then I'd cross off 2 in each of my open planets. And I was like, well, I think it was like the second to last round, so I didn't. I couldn't actually. I could have gone there, I guess, but that wasn't going to.
Yeah,
but that was mostly on me for not getting it early.
Yeah, but still, it is a little bit of luck of the draw. But I've always been very fortunate, so I really love that map. Those 3, I don't like the top right as one, exploring the planets. I got a little more this time, at least up the population track, just because my faction got me free boosts on that track. But other than that, I don't usually go for more than 2 planets ever. I just go to get those special symbols that I'll need to unlock some of the warfare things or other bonuses in other planets, but otherwise I don't really pursue that one. Kind of, again, another reason it makes me think of Sonora, because that one has kind of the top left board with the canyons or whatever, where it's filling up those spaces. Don't pursue that one as much. In this one, it's the top right that I do not pursue very much. But overall, I do very much enjoy all of them and what they're doing. First impression rating, I'm going to give this one a 9. I've really enjoyed this one, and like you said, I think it's very satisfying. I guess I don't know, you didn't say that. I kind of changed where I was going with that sentence. They're like, he never said that. I'm putting words in your mouth. It's very satisfying. just especially moving along that bottom production track. And just getting all those resources, unlocking those points. They don't really give you anything except for like some production of wild resources, but I don't know, just something about that is really satisfying when you get tons of resources, especially when you have those wild resources to spend and near the end of the game, and you can be like, okay, this is like the last couple turns, just throw everything out there, and with those wild resources you can really do whatever you want with these boards, and winning the wars and really covering up the spots and being like, oh my gosh, I'm going to dominate everyone. And then obviously exploring, getting a ton of points up there, and doing a little bit in the top right.
Right.
I found it very satisfying.
Yeah, I'm coming in. My initial thoughts are probably around an 8, maybe 8.5, somewhere in there. I really liked it as well. It can be pretty satisfying. I don't know if the bonuses are good and fun, but I don't know if they seem like as satisfying as like in a Gone Shown Clever or a Hadrian's Wall, where it's kind of like, oh, you do this to do this to do this.
Yeah, it's
you get to use it later on, which is still satisfying, which is still good, but it doesn't like it's like, oh, I got it, but it's like, oh, when do I actually use that?
It's not like a domino
right.
effect. It's more like, okay, you can unlock things on other boards if you choose to.
Yeah. So it's still good. It still has its uses, but it doesn't give me that same satisfaction, I would say.
Yeah.
But it still works. Just a little bit different on how it does it, and it can be fun to be looking for like, oh, I need one of those special resources that I've got. Oh, I have one circle over there, so now I can cross that off. And now I can go through wormholes or something.
Yeah.
And,
it could be hard to know what you have access to.
It would be nice if maybe there was another sheet to mark your bonuses on.
Track of,
But you just kind of have to, because like I think Zachary had he was playing yesterday. He's like, I know I've got something or whatever. I just don't remember where it is. I think he did find it, but
it is 4 pretty big boards. I'll just
it takes up a lot of room.
Grab one because they're about this size. And it's 4 of those, and each player has those. So we needed 2 tables to play this with 6 players.
Yes, because there's also some other main board.
Yeah, and I guess another thing with the main board, there's the council phase, which kind of brings an option where everyone votes on what outcome they want. We ended up getting 3 negative ones, so they can be like 2 negative or 2 positive, or if we played in 2-player. We kind of are both voting, and also an AI is voting, and then there's like a negative and a positive guaranteed.
Oh, yep.
But with more players, you just flip a card, and it's either going to be 2 negatives or 2 positives. We got 3 negatives, so that wasn't that great.
Yeah.
And also, I think the voting either way, if it gets to a certain player count, I just feel like it doesn't matter what I throw out there, because I didn't get much vote production.
I only had 1 vote production, so mine never mattered.
Me too. So it just never felt like in that game.
Yeah, a couple people had like 4 or 5 vote production, so
I'm just like, it's not.
I mean, that's on us, but it's at the same time, like, it kind of just depended on what kind of the power players wanted to do.
Yeah, and being negative, it's
already
like,
kind of.
It doesn't feel like, oh, you're winning something with your vote. It's
right.
It's usually going to affect everyone anyway, I think, negative or positive. So I think that's probably the weakest part of the game. At least in our plays, I never found it really that interesting.
No, I would agree.
Maybe 3-player would be pretty interesting, possibly.
That's true. But at 6, I mean, it can give you something. And Zachary, I think, was not. I mean, he was one of them that had like one of the top production. He's like, I don't know what I mean, it didn't seem like those votes were worth it at all at the end of the game. He got second to last. I got last. I guess it doesn't matter if you have votes or not. Don't have votes. You just
votes don't matter.
The votes don't matter, just like Who's Line. But otherwise it's a solid game. I think it's one that you should check out if you tend to like roll and writes, the heavier ones. I think
for sure. For sure, it's a heavier one. It's not Twilight Imperium, but it is one of the heaviest roll and writes that we played.
Agree. And I'm wondering, I mean, there's flip sides and stuff to play kind of asymmetry, I think. But I'm kind of curious if this one will feel solvable.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas like Hadrian's Wall to me still, I don't know if it is. Doesn't, I guess to me, I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
Not like solvable, but like if it's going to eventually feel like, oh, I have to do the production one to compete. I don't know. I don't know if that is. I've only played it twice, but but otherwise, we hope to see you on our unboxing video. And as always, don't forget to
Keep on nibbling
on our content.